everyone. Welcome. The evident top story this evening. It's the mega exclusive CNBC-TV18 news break. The turmoil at the Tata Group is getting deeper by the day. CNBC-TV18 is in possession of 5 pages of the scathing email sent by ousted Tata Sons chairman Cyrus Mistry to the directors on the board. Mistry has hit out at the board, criticizing them for the move to oust him, terming it unparalleled in the annals of corporate history. But he doesn't just stop at that. Let me take you through some very crucial quotes from that scathing letter by Mistry. To begin with, Mistry has said that prior to my appointment, I was assured that I would be given a free hand. The previous chairman was to step back and be available for advice and guidance as and when needed. After my appointment, the Articles of Association was modified, changing the rule of engagement between the trusts, the board of Tata Sons, the chairman and the operating companies. Not just that, he's also said that as the search process progressed and the committee was unable to find a suitable candidate, I was asked to reconsider. After consulting my family and the broader interests of the Tata Group, I took courage to overcome my initial reluctance and agreed to consider the position. He also says the European steel business faced potential impairments in excess of $10 billion, only some of which has been taken on as of this date. So in terms of giving individual comments with respect to companies, that's the most scathing one. He has gone on to highlight about the European business, but let's move on to some other areas that he has touched upon. He's talked about Indian hotels. He has said that Indian hotels, beyond flawed international strategy, had acquired Sea Rock property at a highly inflated price and housed in an off-balance sheet structure. As far as commenting on Tata Motors is concerned, he has said that the nano product development concept called for a car below 1 lakh rupees, but the costs were always above this. Nano, he says, consistently lost money, peaking at 1,000 crores, as there's no line of sight to profitability for the Nano. Any turnaround strategy for the company requires to shut it down. Emotional reasons alone have kept us away from this crucial decision. He also says, again, talking more in depth about Nano, another challenge in shutting down Nano is that it would stop the supply of the Nano gliders to an entity that makes electric cars and in which Mr. Tata has a stake. The other business that he has spoken about is Tata Power. He says that Tata Power aggressively bid for the Mundra project based on low-priced Indonesian coal. As regulations changed, the losses in 2013-14 alone amounted to 1,500 crore rupees. Given that Mundra constitutes 18,000 crore rupees of capital employed, this substantially depresses the return on capital for Tata Power, in fact, as well as carries the risk of considerable future impairment. Moving on, he also says, being into the position of a lame duck, quote-unquote, chairman, my desire was to create an institutional framework for effective future governance of the group. While I would be lying if I said I'm not disappointed, I have a sense of pride and dignity intact in the efforts I have taken to professionalize and institutionalize, regardless of the outcome of effort I now witness. So those were the key quotes that stand out as far as the scathing letter is concerned. We will keep getting you all those crucial quotes, but we in fact just a short while ago spoke to a whole host of experts on the issue. Here's a slice of that conversation. Take a look.
Let's get expert comments now on this. I think I've read the entire letter to you. Mr. Gupta, you must have heard a major part of the letter. Your first thoughts?
Everything. Yeah. Hello?
Yes, your first thoughts, Mr. Gupta, from what you have heard.
The first thought is in something in lighter vein. The next Tata Sons chairman should do some stint in public sector so that how to work under pressure, under different commands. That is the way to be successful in Tata. That is what is my first view.
Okay.
Because in public sector, you get experience of listening to 20 bosses and then still making the company successful. Now, coming to the issues, it is a mix of things.
Yeah.
I will start from the negative part, when he has criticized all the businesses and everything. But then understand, Shapurji Palanji Group were 18% shareholder of the Tata Sons when all these business decisions were taken. So Shapurji Palanji as a group cannot disown all those decisions. One. Secondly, in hindsight, everybody is intelligent, because when Chorus was taken over, everybody was very much happy that Tata Group is becoming the world leader in all said and done. But now coming to the what he has said, it is really a sad story, which brings out facts which were not known till now, and the reputation of Tata as a good governance company, or a group which has been governed well, will take a severe beating.
Mr. Gupta, just to play Mr. Mistry's advocate over here, not that
No,
I know
I'm
any of them
speaking from
better.
that side.
You know,
I'm
he
speaking from
admits,
that side.
see, it's very clear that, you know, look at the paragraph where he says that when he was asked to, when he was given the appointment, he was assured he would be given a free hand. So my assumption is that he would say that I'm coming with 18% backing and you are the majority shareholder, will I get a free hand? That conversation must have happened, and he apparently was promised a free hand, and then the articles of association were modified, the rules of engagement changed between the trust's board of Tata Sons chairman and the operating companies. So it clearly looks like they told him something and they did something else.
I'm coming to that. That's what I'm saying. The whole thing looks very messy in the sense that first you bring a chairman after an exercise of doing 3-4 months or 6 months that we are wanting to bring a change. And that change is a cosmetic change because apparently you gave power to him, but the withdrew power by the changing the article, and the power remained with the person who was earlier a chairman. That is what Mr. Mistry is saying.
Yes, that is exactly what he's saying.
That is where I'm saying. The face you projected was different. The person who had the powers remained the same. That is one. As regards many other things which he has said, the worst thing that I could read between what you have said is, which is not in the public domain, that one of the personal company of Tata, being Ratan Tata, supplying parts to Nano.
Yeah.
I think this is a things which is not done in a big group. You may start a company today and then start doing all this nonsense.
Yeah.
But in a group which is multi-billion group, you don't do it.
Exactly. No, actually, the allegation is that Mr. Ratan Tata was a rival power center. And I think I didn't read that paragraph because it didn't have too many numbers. He says, to come back to the amendments in the Articles of Association, as feared, the inappropriate implementation created a flux in the decision-making process. I have often presented to the trustees before and after Tata Sons board meetings. This created alternative power centers without any accountability or formal responsibility, invalidating the very terms of engagement and rules of nominated directors, who I would assume will use their own independent judgment and discharge their fiduciary duties. They were reduced to mere postmen. And this is the example. As an example, once the trustee directors, Nitin Noria and Vijay Singh, had to leave a Tata Sons board meeting in progress for almost an hour, keeping the rest of the board waiting in order to obtain instructions from Mr. Tata. Such was the work pattern. So, I mean, to this detail he goes to say that the board didn't function as the power center. It was a power center. The independent directors were not really independent, but they were postmen of Mr. Tata. Well, let me get Hitesh Jain on the issue. Hitesh Jain, your thoughts from what we have read out?
Well, frankly speaking now, I mean, he's trying to express and put forth his views. One way of looking at it is all this while he has kept quiet when he was at the helm of the affair, and now he is placing the views. He still happens to be the member of the board, and when you're a member of the board, you start making allegations in the manner in which the company is being run and all. The line which he is picking out.
Okay. Well, Hitesh.
So with that audio, Hitesh, yes, go ahead.
No, I think we're not
I don't think we can hear him. Suhas Tuljapurkar, the managing partner of Regulators, is also with us. So Hitesh, we'll just come back to you in a bit. Suhas, good evening. It looks like the stage is set for Cyrus Mistry to drag Ratan Tata to court. What do you think the contents of this letter could do? Will it, maybe perhaps make his case a bit stronger?
Actually, first and foremost, it's kind of washing the dirty linen in the public. Second, from the court's perspective, from the litigation perspective, I think there's something which is called the business judgment rule. And the business judgment rule is what the courts would follow broadly. Courts would say whether the kind of judgment of the board of directors or member of the board of directors was bona fide judgment, whether it was based on correct information, whether they acted on the informed basis, and whether the act was in best interest of the corporation or not. Now, the two other factors that would come in terms of evaluating this is that so long these decisions were not wasteful and they did not involve self-interest, I think the business judgment rule will require these issues to be left to the business and courts will not interfere. Therefore, if you look at it, if there was no self-interest involved, the history of loyalty concept here plays a critical role. In that sense, sorry?
Mr. Tulsapurkar, what we understand is that the Shapoorji Group is planning to drag the Tata Group, or rather the Tata Trusts, to court on the ground of Section 397 of the Companies Act, which under which you can complain of oppression of minority shareholders and mismanagement. I'm sure the defense will be on the following lines. Do you think the Shapoorji Group stands a chance?
I won't put any chance, because I think what is the incidence today, or what is the cause of action for saying that this is a case for oppression and mismanagement? Because a single isolated incident where a chairman has replaced another chairman cannot give cause of action to Shapoorji Pallonji Group as such to make an allegation, make out a case for 397. Because I think presupposition there under 397 would be that company is otherwise required to be wound up, and the winding up is not in the interest of the shareholder. So it's not a straightforward straitjacket case for oppression and mismanagement. Okay. It's primarily a cause of action for replacement of chairman.
Okay. Shireen?
Yes, Lata, we should also talk to people who've been long observers of the Tata Group. And as we've been pointing out, maybe both parties will decide not to go to court. Of course, the caveat has been filed by the Tata Group. Legal defense and the legal teams have been put in place. But what we were picking up as of last night is that perhaps both sides would prefer not to precipitate this into a legal battle. But that apart, Suhas, how do you believe that regulatory agencies will now react to the information, for instance, that has been put out by Cyrus Mistry on Air Asia, saying very clearly that a forensic audit proved that there was fraudulent deals worth 22 crore rupees. Now, I ask you specifically about Air Asia because this was a matter that representations had been made to the government. So what kind of trouble could these revelations now lead to beyond Cyrus Mistry and Ratan Tata?
I'm in this space and trying to look at some piece of action, whether something has gone wrong. And
I have a problem with the audio, Mr. Tulsapurkar. Maybe we have to reconnect you. Well, let me get some comments from someone where I won't have an audio problem. Anuj, with these kinds of revelations, Anuj, do you see some damage to the Tata stocks simply because the Tata name carried a weight of corporate governance, a premium of corporate governance? Does that get destroyed?
I think that clearly the market has already shown you that over the last couple of days. The big issue here is for the smaller Tata Group stocks, not only is the corporate governance premium going to go, but also because some of these companies, truth be told, were doing well under Cyrus Mistry compared to what they were doing under Mr. Ratan Tata. So I think that's the dual impact that takes place. So I think stocks like Tata Global Beverages, Indian Hotels, I think this is something that I had tweeted yesterday, that these are 4 or 5 stocks where you'll see considerable derating. Indian Hotels, Tata Communications, Tata Global Beverages, Tata Coffee. These are the stocks where Tata Chemicals, where clearly there's a two-pronged impact.
Profit and valuation.
Exactly, valuation and also corporate governance. Now the issue is what happens to the big stocks, the 3 big stocks from the Tata Group stable, which is Tata Consultancy, of course, the biggest one, and the one that contributes the lion's share of the profit, and that really is the one to be worried about. about Tata Motors and also Tata Steel. Tata Steel, of course, not as important in scheme of things as TCS and Tata Motors, but I think corporate governance premium clearly takes a hit, and that's something that we discussed yesterday as well with our guests as well. Some part of that has played out, but some more of it will play out. And also the uncertainty. Now this will become a court case, and that too a long legal battle. So that will also have its impact. I think at best Tata Group stocks now become market performers. That is, if they're lucky.
Okay. I'm sure the...
Lata, I also want to raise the point.
Go ahead.
I also want to raise the point, Lata, about, questions are now going to be asked, not just in the manner in which Cyrus Mistry was replaced by the board of Tata Sons, but also about the board itself. Because if you look at the letter, and it says very clearly that board members and trustees were also aware that in the case of AirAsia, ethical concerns have been raised and so on and so forth. So while questions will be asked of Cyrus Mistry as well, but questions will also be raised about the conduct of the board itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Independent directors will definitely be hauled up if any of these cases become something which regulators get interested. Mr. Gupta, any further comments? Do you think regulatory agencies now will start, nosing in, start prodding and investigating into any of these charges?
Yes, till now, regulator was not in the focus because till now it was only matter related to a unlisted company, that is Tata Sons, and where a chairman was removed and which was in their power. Now with all these things opening up, it will open a can of worms and it will give lot of areas for regulators to look into it. One is very simply the interested party contract in Nano, that is what has been done. Then the fraud aspect in AirAsia, where of course it is not listed company, but it has to be looked into because whether the auditor performs their role or not, because auditors are under duty to report the fraud. Then all other things, because this is only a first letter that has come out. Now there will be a series of letters from here, there, every place, and the forensic audit may be done, all these things. But as Anuj rightly said, that the first day there was no reaction in the market because it was just limited to Tata Sons. But now when the issue of governance are coming and all these transactions are coming, then it will going to hit the listed companies badly. One, because of people will start doubting the business model or the business and numbers, and secondly, the governance premium that was given.